what issues, if you recall, were raised in or can you identify from the after action report that would lead to a possible work rule violation?
I don't recall. I haven't seen the after action report since 2020.
Okay. But again, it was you in consultation with the secretary that identified the potential work rule violations?
That seems to be correct.
Okay. Because at that time you read the after action report?
That is correct.
Okay. And then did you understand the secretary to have read the after action report?
I don't remember if he read it or if it was just presented to him.
Okay. So who, based on the two of people, well, let me put it another way. When you say you're making this decision in consultation with the secretary, is that happening in a physical location or over the telephone or by some other means?
Um, this time, April 2020, was right in the midst of the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. I do recall specifically being in person on the date of the escape. I think after that, communications occurred either virtually or via phone, but I don't recall how we made this particular decision or in what venue we made this particular decision.
Okay.
I was in constant contact with the secretary all day, every day throughout this time.
I understand. And so my question though is this a meeting that's or is there anybody else that's participating in this decision?
There may have been HR, there may have been individuals from the after action, but I don't exactly recall.
Okay. Who identified who first identified potential work rule violations in the after action report?
I don't remember.
Okay. But it was either you or the secretary, right?
It would have likely been me over the secretary, but I don't know if it came to me in a different way.
What does that mean?
I don't know if I don't remember if, as part of the after action presentations, if someone else identified it or if I identified it.
Okay. What was the after action presentation?
Um, at the time, Security Director Larry Fuchs and another individual presented the results of the after action review with myself and the secretary, and I believe Doug Percy and maybe the deputy secretary. I don't recall if she was still there at the time.
Okay.
But I don't know if I identified the work rules or if they had at that point. I just don't remember.
Oh, so Doug Percy could have been involved in identifying the work rules?
He could have been part of the conversation, but based on my experience between the two of us, I had the personnel expertise. So it would have likely been me over Doug, but I'm not exactly sure.
Okay. And again, you don't remember if it was you or the secretary who first, or even who first identified the work rule violation, but it could have been Doug Percy, right?
I don't think it was likely that it was Doug Percy, no.
Oh, okay. But he participated in the after action report. That's correct.
He participated in the presentation of it, yes.
Okay.
Or
And
he received the presentation.
and it's based on that after action report that Warden Novak, the disciplinary investigation into Warden Novak
No,
began.
I don't. No, I don't believe so. Because I think the after action report was an ongoing review. I think there were disciplinary interviews conducted or witness interviews conducted as a result of the investigation that implicated Sue Novak. And I think it was a combination of both the after action review and some of the statements that we received that we decided to investigate.
Okay. And at what point in the after action report did the stun fence come up?
I don't think I understand your question.
Do you know what a stun fence is?
I do, sir.
Okay. Do you know what the status of the stun fence was at Columbia Correctional Institution at the time of the escape?
I was told after the escape that it was not functioning correctly.
Can you answer my question, please?
I thought I did.
Okay. So my question to you was, what was your knowledge of the fence at the time of the escape?
At the time of the escape, I thought that it was functioning
Why did you come to think that?
because I wasn't told otherwise.
Okay. So, and again, you are the administrator of the adult division, right?
Correct.
Okay. And you're nominally in charge of security at all those institutions, right?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
So you are in charge of security at Columbia Correctional Facility when you were the administrator of the adult division, right?
I was responsible for the operations of 36 adult prisons in the entire state of Wisconsin.
Okay. And Columbia was one of those 36, right?
That is correct.
Okay. And so, do I understand you to be telling us that you assumed that everything was fine at all of the institutions unless somebody told you that something was wrong or something else?
I can only be aware of an issue if I was notified of the issue.
Okay. And that's because you didn't go to Columbia Correctional Institution anytime?
I absolutely went to Columbia Correctional Institution on multiple occasions.
Okay. So, with that in mind, you are telling us that you first learned of the condition of the fence. And again, what is the condition of the fence, if you know?
Now,
Mm-hmm.
I would have no knowledge.
What was it at the time of the escape?
From what I knew or from what I was told?
Well, you had personal firsthand knowledge of the condition of the fence?
After the escape occurred,
Okay. How did you acquire that firsthand knowledge?
I was told by the deputy warden, Luke Weber, on an 8 a.m. call that the fence had not been functioning. And that was the date of the escape.
Okay. So, then, subsequent to that, what did you learn about the condition of the fence on that, how it was not functioning on the day of the escape?
I'm sorry, can you repeat your question?
Yes. So we're clear that the fence was not functioning. This is the stun fence was not functioning. What is your
Correct.
knowledge of how the stun fence was not functioning?
I understood that the alarms were not working. And that's all I remember.
Okay. Did you learn anything about the installation of the fence?
Oh, yes, I did.
Okay. What did you learn?
From what I recall, it was installed incorrectly.
Okay. And do you, any time did you learn when that fence was installed?
I did.
Okay. And do you know when that fence was installed?
Not the exact dates. I just know it happened prior to me joining the administration.
Okay. And if we could just focus on Warden Novak for a second here, do you recall if it was before or after Warden Novak became the warden of correctional CCI?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. Do you think it could have been 1989?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, let's find out when you did know, because you did know, learn this fact at some point, right?
Yes, 3 years ago.
Okay, but you've no question in your mind sitting here today that 3 years ago you knew when this fence was constructed, right?
Yes.
Okay. And did you at that time learn whether or not it was before or after Sue Novak became the warden at Columbia Correctional Institution?
I would have had knowledge then. I don't remember now.
Okay. But you do remember now that it was before you became the administrator, right?
That I knew. Yes.
Okay. And you still know that today, right?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know when Sue Novak became the warden?
I don't remember. No.
Okay.
It happened prior to me.
So that you remember.
Yes.
Okay. So based on those facts that you remember that it couldn't have happened while you were there, and that Sue Novak was a warden before you got there, and you don't know the date. That's how you're unable to tell us if it happened before Sue Novak was the warden.
Correct.
Okay. So, at any time did you find out whether or not this happened, take any steps to investigate whether it had happened before or after Sue Novak was the warden?
I believe that was part of the after action review.
Okay. All right. As part of your job as division administrator, you received the reports from the disciplinary reports from internal affairs, right?
Uh, yes, that sounds right.
Okay. And I believe they're called packets, disciplinary packets.
Yes.
Okay. And those packets can be voluminous, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you read everything in those packets or something else?
Generally speaking, I did.
Okay. How about for Sue Novak?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Great. So, but before that happened, you authorized an 18507 to investigate Sue Novak, right?
I'm sorry, I don't remember what an 18507 is.
That is, yeah, I'll be clear. There is, because I think we already covered that, so I'm gonna try to gloss over this as quickly as I can. My understanding is you say initiated the investigation into Sue Novak in consultation with the secretary, right?
Yes.
I don't mean to put words in your mouth there. I'm just trying to be clear on that fact. Okay, so then after you authorize the investigation, who conducts the investigation?
Assigned investigators.
Okay. And because obviously this is not going to be happening at the institutional level to investigate Warden Novak. Do you know who investigated Warden Novak?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you believe it was internal affairs or something else?
It's likely, I don't remember.
Okay. And do you recall who uh, headed up internal affairs at that time? Okay. Mr. Mullenbach, can you help me out with the name, please?
Sorry?
Can you help me out with the internal affairs investigator's name?
I believe it's Sonnenberg.
No, the witness that we just spoke with.
Oh, Chrissy Preston.
Chrissy Preston. I'm sorry, I'm getting those two, the order mixed up. Does that help refresh your memory?
Of her being the director of internal affairs.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and do you believe that she's the one who conducted the investigation into Sue Novak or somebody else?
I don't remember.
Okay. So, you were clear that after you authorize an investigation, it goes to an investigator, right?
Yes.
How was that investigator chosen?
We determine individuals with the ability to investigate complex individuals. I don't remember exactly how it was done in internal affairs, but generally speaking, it was based off of experience, ability to have, ability to investigate complex issues, um, obviously to ensure that there wouldn't be bias in the investigation, um, and I think pure scheduling at sometimes as well.
Okay, and these are the two people, as far as I understand it, there's usually a interviewer and then somebody who's backing them up, right?
Yes.
Okay, and those are the people who are conducting the interviews and at least writing the initial draft of the the summation document, right?
Yes.
Okay, summary document. Sorry, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so but ultimately that packet and summary document goes to the head of, well, I guess who does that summary packet go to after those investigators have it, if you know, or finish with it?
It went to what was called the incident. I don't remember exactly what the acronym stand for, but it was the IRT.
Yeah, okay. So, okay, and but between, and that's for all investigations, right?
Yes.
Okay, do you remember specifically what happened with Sue Novak?
In terms of what? In terms of going to IRT?
Sure. Between going to IRT and you authorizing the investigation, do you have any knowledge of what happened with that investigation?
Outside of interviews?
Okay, do you have knowledge of that interviews took place in the Sue Novak investigation?
I'm sorry. Are you asking, did I have knowledge that interviews took place? Is that the
No,
question?
I don't. I guess I'll just back up a second. All I'm trying to find out is if you had any knowledge there from the time that you authorized the investigation, right? Because you authorized the investigation, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then you are also part of the IRT meeting, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And I believe before the IRT meeting, there's a period in which you review the entire packet, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So then my question is, do you have any knowledge of the investigation between the moment that you authorized the investigation and the moment that you were handed the packet?
I'm sorry. I guess I don't understand what you mean by knowledge. Like I knew it was happening. Yes.
Okay, good. That's a good start. How did you become aware that it was happening?
Because I authorized the investigation.
Okay. So then, did you participate in picking the investigators?
I don't remember.
Okay. And that, are you clear that at the time of the escape, there was an office at the Department of Corrections called Internal Affairs?
Yes, I believe it was launched in 2020.
Okay, I got it. So, um, there is a summary in the packet that explains the, or I guess, what is the purpose of the summary, if you know?
I'm sorry, which summary?
The summary in the packet, is there more than one summary? I guess, yeah, the summary of investigative findings.
Okay, so what was the question?
What is the purpose of a summary of investigative findings?
To summarize the findings.
Okay, appreciate that. Titles and functions don't always line up. So, and you read that document, right?
Yeah,
Do you believe this, the secretary read that document?
I would assume so, yes.
Okay. Now, do you have memory of whether or not there were any rule violations found as a result of the investigation into Sue Novak?
I believe they identified work rules that may have been violated.
Okay. Do you know what those work rules were?
No,
Okay. Does insubordination or negligence sound right?
maybe. I don't
Okay.
remember.
How about failure to follow policies and procedures?
That sounds right.
Okay. And how about agency's specific serious misconduct?
Maybe. I don't remember. I haven't seen this in a long time.
Okay. Based on your knowledge and experience as attorney for the de department, what is the meaning of serious misconduct?
Are you asking me to define what serious misconduct is?
Sure. Now, I don't need examples of serious misconduct, but is there something, does the serious misconduct have any effect on the progressive disciplinary process?
Sometimes.
Okay. Why?
Well, if it was determined that someone violated a serious misconduct, it may permit the authority to skip progressive discipline.
Okay. And based on your knowledge and understanding, do you believe that wardens know that?
Yes,
Okay. And so one of the ways that you can skip progressive discipline is to, in fact, terminate the employee, right?
that is one of many. Yes.
Okay. So in order for a employee to be terminated without uh, progressive discipline, the agency would have to find an act of serious misconduct or something else.
I'm sorry, can you repeat your question?
Of course. Would the agency have to find an act of serious misconduct in order to terminate an employee without progressive discipline?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. And that's a policy?
I believe it was in the policies. Yes, I think it was Executive Directive 2 from my experience.
Great. And you believe all DOC employees know that?
I mean,
Fair
I would
enough.
hope
How
so.
about wardens? We'll stick with wardens. Do you believe wardens know that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, do you recall if any issue with the fence comprised a part of the work rule violation allegations against Warden Novak?
I do not remember, sir.
Okay. Do you recall whether or not, and we're going to go back a few steps for foundational purposes, there was any allegations against any food service workers at Columbia Corrections with regard to the escape?
Yes.
Okay. And do you believe that those allegations, or sorry, the participation of the food service worker in the escape comprised any part of the work rule violations against Warden Novak?
I don't think I understand your question, sir.
Sure. We're clear that there's a summary, and on that summary, there's itemized work rule violations, right?
Yes.
For Warden Novak, did the role of the kitchen worker in the escape, or the allegation related to that, play any part in the work rule violation, the alleged work rule violations against Warden Novak?
I don't remember.
Okay. So, Judge, this is R12 again, and this is page, it starts on page 182, but we're going to look at page 184. And I'm happy to repeat that anytime.